A new Formula 2 era is about to begin. Welcome to the first race day of the season. Good afternoon from Bahrein International Circuit in Sakhir, a truly impressive motorsport facility, and we're situated just outside the capital city where the expectation is nearly as high as the temperature. It really is roasting out there, and it means we're set for a real examination for both teams and drivers as they attempt to capture the first silverware of the season. It's the feature race at round one of the 2017 Formula 2 Championship. I'm half of your commentary team. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me, Davide Valsecchi, a man who has mastered this circuit. Happy new season, my friend. Give us all the secret. How do you win around this place? Not just once, but 3 times you managed it back in 2012 in this machinery. These guys are in for a very, very difficult race.
Ciao Alex, it's a pleasure to be here with you. Wonderful situation. First race of the season for this new Formula 2 will be extreme this race. Why? First for the temperature, second because it will be a battle.
You see Leclerc capturing the first Formula 2 pole ahead of his former GP3 teammate Nick de Vries. Then we had Norman Nato, a lot of people's prediction to win the race. Watch out for Luca Chiotto as well. He is starting his first race for Russian time. Antonio Fuoco did qualify in second place, but you see he's dropped down. 3-place penalty for blocking the man directly behind him, Artem Markelov. Matsushita is in 6th, then Markelov. Roland, who was very quick indeed on the medium tyre in practice. Can he recreate that form after a difficult qualifying that left him 8th? It's a first race for ART Formula 2 level for Alexander Albon, and in the top 10 on debut, Sergio Sette Camara. Jordan King, so frustrated, he thought his car was good enough for the top 5. He lines up 11th. Johnny Cecotto, the most experienced man in GP2. He's a rookie as it stands in Formula 2. Then we have Nicholas Latifi in 13th. Louis Delatraz, really difficult day for racing engineering in 14th. Ralph Boschung looking forward to attacking from 15th. And Nabil Jeffrey lining up 16th. And then you see the vast array of penalties. Gustav Malia got his for hitting Nabil Jeffrey, only lines up behind him. And then we have 3 cars in the pit lane. There you see them. Sean Gallal, Sergio Canamassas and Stefano Coletti returning to this machinery. And those guys, you can see 2 of them on the soft tyre and 1 of them on the medium. So conditions here, absolutely, as I said, really, really intense for the drivers. Davide, it's got to be one of the toughest races of the year for them.
Yeah, really high temperature, and then looks the flex. It's really windy today and will be another difficulty. At the end of the straight, if you have the wind behind you, it pushes you and it's difficult to turn in. So the very high temperature, the wind, plus 32 laps of the race will be really hard for every driver today.
Having a look at the front row man there, and you can see Nick de Vries has elected to start on the medium compound. Pirelli are the tyre supplier for Formula 2, and they have brought the medium white wall tyre and the soft tyre. The drivers must use both this afternoon. It is 32 degrees air temperature out there, track temperature absolutely sweltering at 44. And so it's tough for the driver inside the cockpit. It's tough to look after the tyres, and this is a race that you can really lose early on, not only because of the perils of a first lap, but you've got to get those tyres through to your mandatory pit stop. If not, you could be done as early as lap 5 in terms of being a factor for this race.
Yeah.
Really, really hot tyres.
It's really important to push for the first few laps to get the position after the start, and then you have to look about the rear tires. You have to conserve it. You have to try to maintain the tires until the pit stop to have the second run where you can push whatever you have to try to achieve your position and your aim.
Looking out of the window, the top 5 have decided to go with the medium tyre. That means they're going to be running in the race to about lap 20. That's not the strategy you used when you won here in 2012. And it's interesting that in the last couple of years, it's switched. It used to be soft, start on the soft tyre, get rid of them as soon as possible. But in recent years, Stoffel van Dorn in this machinery, for one, was able to show that the medium tyre is the way to go, and the front of the field reflecting that today.
Yeah, it will be interesting because during the winter test here, they were worried about the performance of tires. Sometimes the medium, they were not lasting so much, and maybe a soft compound can last a bit longer. We'll check it out, but it will be interesting to see.
So the field led away by Charles Leclerc for the rebirth of the Formula 2 Championship. Everyone has left the grid, 17 cars on their formation lap, 3 guys awaiting the green light at the end of the pit lane. Markelov could be a man to watch today. He, as you were pointing out before we came on air, he is a man that can always seemingly get more out of his tyres. We remember in GP2 Monaco last year, that was sensational. If he shows a similar form today, he's going to be very difficult indeed to beat around the 3.3 miles of this racetrack.
Yeah, you're right. Markelov is starting in 7th position, so he's not really on top, but he's showing in the past that he's a racer. He's a really good driver in the race. But I'm waiting also for Giotto, that with Russian time, usually they are really good to conserve the tires, and they can be really competitive here. But let me say that Leclerc, the man that started in pole yesterday, was amazing in quali with a different strategy. Everyone else was in the pit lane. He was in the track to set the only really good lap time, and he had a great pole position.
It was a fantastic pole position. Saw a lot of headlines that it was by 7/10. I think the guys behind, certainly Markelov, would have lowered the gap, but I'm not sure anyone was getting on terms with that sensational lap from Charles Leclerc. Now, Prima definitely feel that one lap pace is one thing for them, long run pace, certainly in testing around this circuit. They were here a couple of weeks ago. They think that is a totally different story. And if you're a little bit worried that Charles Leclerc is going to scamper off into the distance and we're going to watch a battle for second place, I tell you that, according to the team themselves, is not going to happen.
Yeah, you're right. They were struggling a little bit on the race pace. There were teams that they were more competitive than them. Will be interesting today. Also check it out, the drivers, because when you have the pressure, when you have to deliver the result, when you have to make the good start and the good overtakes, it's a challenge. So first point, the start. Leclerc, you have to show your best and try to defend your position.
This is what all the hard work over the winter has been for. We're going to find out in the physically tough conditions who was giving everything in their winter program in the gym. It might seem obvious, you might think all of the guys are at the same level, but what we've seen with Pascal Wehrlein, you've really got to train to be race ready at the elite level of single-seaters. Our pole man, Charles Leclerc, thanked his team for a car that, and I'm quoting him, felt amazing. He said it was a lap where every sector came together. But, and it's one thing that could really hurt him this afternoon, all weekend long, our pole sitter has been struggling coming out of the final corner. And if he hasn't improved that today, it is going to be extremely difficult to keep the chasing pack behind.
Yeah, you're right, because it's the key point to maintain the position. It's just before the long straight. You have to have a good really exit from the last corner to have the maximum speed to attack and to defend. So will be a key point of the track.
These are fantastic moments then for you at home and for us in the commentary box. We're about to watch 20 of the best young drivers in the world do their absolute best around this Bahrain circuit. The average age on the grid is 22. We have 5 race-winning graduates from GP3, lots of returners from GP2, but now for Formula 2 we've got 5 lights, and in Bahrain we're underway with a decent start for the pole sitter Leclerc, who moves away. It's been a poor one for De Vries, and he's immediately gobbled up by Nato, who has been very impressive around this circuit before. Giotto going down the inside, could get very close into turn 1, and the 400-meter run to turn 1 somehow appears to have passed without incident. You don't often see that, but Charles Leclerc getting exactly the start he needed as Markelov has got past De Vries, who is sinking from the front row. So it's Leclerc, Nato, Markelov up from 7th on the grid. He's in the mood for it. And now the ART and Rapax of Matsushita going wheel to wheel with Nick De Vries, and De Vries just about hanging on to it on the exit as you see Fuoco trying to respond, but the man on the charge is Jordan King, who's passed him. So frustrated not to be near the top 5. He is improving all the time, and Chicotto sending one down the inside of Latifi and maybe Roland as well as they come through already to turn number 9 on a frenetic opening lap of the championship.
What a race! Really good start. Cecotto again on the outside. Oh, he could maintain the position. Great start from Leclerc. That he had a really good jump and then he defended very well the position at the first corner.
We've got Giotto down the inside, having to go defensive from King, who would have known he needed a really storming lap from 11th on the grid. He has moved himself up the order. Fuoco not having the time he needs, but look at Norman Nato. He is looking super comfortable. That reminds me of Vettel and Hamilton in Australia when Vettel just sat and waited, and Nato looking very comfortable at the moment. Cecotto got a lot of experience, but I'm not entirely sure why he was trying to overtake at turn 13 when there's a much better opportunity coming in just a few corners as well. Markelov having stretched clear, looking really racy. Once again, Cecotto barging his way past. He's not in the mood to wait around, and he goes past Fuoco, who has rather been bullied, the young Italian Ferrari Academy driver. And so, with the bottom running along the floor, lap 1, the order, Charles Leclerc ahead of Norman Nato, Artem Markelov up from 7th on the grid to 3rd in the race, Nick de Vries heading down, and we've got Alexander Albon very close in contact there. You do not need that. There's a little bit of damage to Alexander Albon's front wing. Remember, he was the runner-up from the GP3 series last year, and he's got a little bit of damage trying to overtake Ollie Rowland. Here comes Ollie Rowland, trying to go past Fuoco and getting past Fuoco, who is plummeting at the moment like a stone. Things just moving too quickly for the Italian driver, and now Nicholas Latifi fancies a bit as well.
Yeah, not a really good start from Fuoco, that is struggling all the first lap from 5th, and now he's 10th, so it's not so easy, and there is Rowland behind him that is trying to attack him. So really not a good start. He missed the apex of the corner. Rowland much tighter. Not an easy place to overtake, but really not a great start from Fuoco. His teammate is leading the race at the moment.
So a super start there as we have a look at the battle for the lead. Remember, no DRS at the moment, but Nato showing his intent by feigning one to the inside. So Cecotto started in 12th position. He's got himself up to 8th. Jordan King started in 11th, got himself up to 7th and making his experience with this machinery. But the battle for the lead is looking very close between the Arden of Norman Nato and the Prima of Charles Leclerc. Nato always comfortable around this racetrack. He's back with the Arden team that he started with in GP2. All new personnel, and Arden, who have had so many difficult years, 5 years without a win at this level. Well, right now they are looking pretty good and over the line, nothing between them. You can see the top 3 in your picture. Leclerc with his mirrors full of the yellow Arden as they head down to turn number 1.
He had a good exit from the last corner. Norman Nato, he has the chance to attack.
Leclerc looking in the mirrors, but I don't think there's anything he can do about it. Norman Nato is going to take the lead at turn 1. It's bumpy down there, so it's not easy to get it slowed down. Leclerc isn't going to give it up, but is there anything he can do? I don't think there is. Norman Nato, he won the season opener 1 year ago, and he's looking very good at the moment to repeat the feat. Great opening 3 laps for the French driver, who's gone past the Monegasque and now takes the lead of this 32-lap race, and many people in the paddock thought he would be the man to beat. So far, he is showing why.
It was perfect, the exit from the last corner to Norman Nato, so he can add a really great speed during the straight, and then he attacked Leclerc on the inside. Straight from Leclerc that he didn't defend at all. You know why? Because he's looking forward.
He is aware that the tyres need to last beyond lap 3, and he is not immediately on the back. I'm not sure he could be immediately on the back. We saw last year in GP3, Charles Leclerc very good indeed at hanging on and running to a set pace in terms of the tyres. This is how the battle for the lead was resolved, though. Nato looking comfortable from the first moment, and the first chance he got, not with the use of DRS, of course, doing it the old-fashioned way, down the inside, and that was a sweet move for the new race leader.
Yeah, it was perfect. He didn't use too much the tires. He had only a really good brake on the inside, no defense from Charles Leclerc. Look at the start.
So here we go, poor one away actually for Johnny Cecotto, but he was about to make that all up right from the back. And once again, you can see really slow one. Delatraz.
Sorry guys, I'm so stupid, sorry guys.
So Delatraz was able to be recovered to the pit lane. He is still circulating out there. Here's what it looked like from the start. It was a great getaway for Leclerc, a poor one for the Rapax driver de Vries, who was swallowed, and a bit of a weave there on Giotto, who had nowhere to go and lost a little bit of momentum, being so tight on the inside. Nato getting himself up to 2nd, and then Markelov being brave into turn number 2. He's on board with Nicholas Latifi, the Dams driver.
Good start from the outside. Look, ooh.
And that wasn't good for Alexander Albon, not the getaway he wanted on his Formula 2 debut. But Latifi managing to get himself in the mix. He's currently running one position out of the point in 11th place, and right behind his teammate Ollie Rowland in 9th. This is the start for De Vries.
He had a bit of wheel spin. Look at Leclerc, the jump, how better he was in comparison of him. De Vries tried to defend the position on the inside, and then he braked really late to try to not lose so many positions. At the moment he's running 4th, and he just set the best lap time of the race. But Markelov on the outside, how brave he was, really good for him.
And this is Luca Ghiotto. We're on board with him, with his new team, Russian Time. He's a driver that wears his heart on his sleeve, and he would have been extremely nervous to get the squeeze there from De Vries heading into turn 1. Managed to get it slowed down, but unfortunately his teammate sailing by on the outside of the corner. So Nato is able to stretch his lead over Leclerc by 7/10 of a second on the last lap, but he's not exactly running away with it. And of course, not only being the leader, he gets the advantage of running in clear air, which will help his tyres even more.
Yeah, for sure. You don't have the car in front of you that destroy and create you understeer, so you use more the tires. He's in the perfect condition, Nato. He pushed the first 3 laps, he get the leadership, and now he's controlling the race. But the group is there, really close to him.
Now, controlling the race becomes slightly more complex with the use of DRS. You've got to break that barrier of a second, and the top cars in your picture circulating very close together on lap 5, and they will all have the use of DRS when they come into one of the 2 zones, one of which is on the back straight, which they're heading to after this fantastic sequence of corners through 6 and now 7. On board with the second place man. You see the prancing horse there, Ferrari Academy driver Charles Leclerc, the hot property in single-seater racing for a very long time. But in the background, Artem Markelov getting ever closer and looking like he's going to put ever more pressure on the Monegasque driver.
Markelov is there, it's close, and he's running really well. Look also the line, sometimes he's a bit closer his line to Leclerc to try to have free air and fresh air, to don't have the problem with downforce. Really good Markelov. I think that he can try to attack on the main straight.
Now, for so many years, Artem Markelov has wowed us with his fantastic, opportunistic overtaking. We spoke about his ability. Davide, do you think that he's got to improve his consistency this year? This is his 4th year with the team. His first in Formula 2, of course, but his 4th year with Russian Time. Is this the year where he has to turn flashes of brilliance into consistent brilliance?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. He has to maintain the performance in quali. Sometimes last year disappear in some weekend. He has to maintain this performance in quali every single weekend. Is the key to be there to fight with the other, because in the race he has nothing less to anyone else.
Over the line once again to start lap 6. Norman Nato leaving Charles Leclerc, Artem Markelov and Nick De Vries, who is stabilised after a very difficult first lap of the Bahrain International Circuit to start the championship. The gap at the front, very static. There's 0.8 of a second between Nato and Leclerc. There's half a second between Markelov, and Markelov setting a searing pace in this part of the circuit, the first sector of the lap. So once again, here's Norman Nato. What are we looking at on the pit straight here? Bodywork flying off the car. And thank goodness it went away from the chasing pack. We're on board with Nicholas Latifi once again. Getting very close indeed. Oh, and there's Alexander Albon. How about that? For a move for the Thai driver, he was straight down the inside, and I'm not sure how much Latifi knew about it.
He missed the break, but because he was trying to defend the position to Albon.
So back at the front with our leader. He was saying this is a circuit he really enjoys. Back with the Arden team that he started his GP2 career with, but they have had a massive turnover in staff. They've recruited race engineers from ART, and that is crucial. That's exactly what Prima did last year, and you saw the caliber of staff. ART must be fed up of having their guys poached, but that is the problem when you have the record that ART have at this level. But Arden, after a few years in the doldrums, will be loving the sight of this. They have not won at this level since Luis Razzia in 2012. Remember 2012? I think you might. It's the year that Davide won the GP2 title, and he's grinning behind the microphone as they go over the line once again, and the gaps between the top three, they're running so close together, but not at the moment anything that Markelov can do. And is he going to get to a point for Artem Markelov where he's just going to have to get past, running at a pace he doesn't want to, is going to start hurting him?
Yeah, but it's not easy, the condition for Markelov.
Okay, Luke, you're going to have to manage that. We've still got quite a way to go before the pit stops.
Already problem with the rear tires for Giotto, and the engineer answer, you have to try to manage it. There's no story.
And they were worried about this at the start. We're on board with Luca Giotto, the man. It is a circuit where the rear tires will go. Thermal degradation around this circuit. It's the rear tires to go first, but they were really worried about the medium tire. They were saying that before the race. They feel more comfortable on the softs, as we see in the pit lane. Medium tires ready and prepared out in the pit lane. So you're seeing the guys down there, and who are they waiting for at this moment? Remember, we are on to lap 6. At the end of lap 6 is the earliest that you can come in for your mandatory pit stop.
It is a condition for Markelov to try to overtake, because he has the car in front of him, Leclerc, with the DRS open. So on the main straight you cannot gain any speed to the car in front. The most chances are for Leclerc. That is just behind Nato. If he can has a good exit from the last corner, he can try to attack him just at the end of the straight. Look.
He's very close indeed. He's very close indeed. So Norman Nato maybe going through the graining phase that we see around this time. And Leclerc with the use of DRS. He's 7 tenths away last time. It's only 4 tenths of a second this time. And you can see he's inching into his lead with every moment, feigning one to the inside. Is he going to go past him to retake the lead? He is, you know. What a titanic tussle at the front. Norman Nato can't defend. And Charles Leclerc back into first position with a fantastic move down the inside. He's looked after his tyres really well. Remember, no experience of this machinery, in Nato, after looking supreme in the early laps, now letting Leclerc go by and looking pretty vulnerable to Artem Markelov behind. So a little bit of a twist that we weren't expecting. The guys, we're running lap 7 at the moment. Markelov getting very close indeed. They've got to go to about lap 20 on these tyres.
Struggling Nato, Look, the first sector, he really dropped down the race pace. Look, Markelov is trying to attack him, but Nato seems that he just lost the performance. Really well done from Leclerc, that he had a really deep break. Look, he was not really close. He brake on this inside, really clean, really deep, and he overtook him. Nato, he didn't defend at all. I think he felt that he struggled already with the tires.
Didn't want to take any more out of the tyres than he needed to. We mentioned before, lights out, that it's so important not to get involved in a tussle early on, because you will just take so much out. You can already see the marbles way off on the racetrack and all over the road, off the racing line. That will make overtaking difficult in the latter stages, but as we come through, Markelov now the danger man for Norman Nato. He wasn't too far behind at all in the early part of the lap, and he's getting ever closer. He's going to have a terrific advantage with DRS as they head down to turn number 1.
It's close enough. If Nato doesn't open the DRS, no, both drivers with the DRS will be not easy for Markelov, I think.
Well, that is the crucial point. It's 9 tenths of a second between Norman Nato over the line and Charles Leclerc. Here comes Luca Giotto trying to make the move on Nobuharu Matsushita, and he's got down the inside and he's getting past. So Markelov going well in 3rd place, and it's getting even better for 5th place Luca Giotto now, who is trying to catch up to his teammate. In the background there, we've got Jordan King trying to go past Matsushita, trying to enforce even more pain on the Japanese driver, and there's nothing he can do to defend. Jordan King moving up the order. Remember, King is now up to 6th position, having started 11th. A great opening sequence of laps for the British driver. And now we see in the background, Fuoco trying to recover a lot of the ground that he lost at the very start. So Matsushita and ART, he's the only driver in the field that stood on the podium in Bahrain at this level in this car. It's not working for him at the moment.
Not fantastic Matsushita, that he forgot to defend to Giotto, and then he lost the position in the next corner to King. So not perfect Matsushita, that he didn't defend with the good aggressive that you need. Look, Giotto was far, he surprised him. Matsushita didn't expect him, but look, he lost the position. And then bad exit for Matsushita, second corner, again another overtake. Well done for Giotto, was far away, he breaks so deep, really well done for Italy.
Matsushita knew he was in trouble though, because that door was wide open on the apex. He had contact there when he raced in Bahrain before at the first turn, so he's learned his lesson to leave a car's width. And we're almost waiting for the storm. It feels very calm out there. I know the lead has changed. Nato, very surprising because he was really emphasizing how much he was going to have to look after the tires earlier on in this race. So it's really surprising to see him maybe drop off a cliff. Interestingly, though, the times in the sectors have stabilized. Leclerc and Nato separated by 9/10 of a second on the racetrack, but a 34.0 in the first sector, 47.6 in the second, and an identical 26.9. They are running identical lap times as into the pits we see the guys who started at the very back in the pit lane coming in. We've got Stefano Coletti for Campos waiting for his crew, and interesting that they were able to get 10 laps on the soft tyre, so they were running as long as possible. And Louis Delatraz as well, ready to be received. One man per tyre, a lot of pressure on the individuals. They practice this day and night, and that was lovely stuff from the Campos crew who released their man, and he came in ahead, and he's leaving ahead. So those are the guys that are hoping for a safety car, hoping for something different. And now down the inside goes Ollie Rowland. Does Matsushita know he's there? Yes, he does. So Ollie Rowland gets himself up to 7th position. And will Matsushita be able to respond? He has not had a good couple of laps, losing places to King, losing places to Giotto, and now to Ollie Rowland, who will be able to make his way through. And at the moment, they're all running in formation, trying to look after the tyres, but there will be a moment after the pit stops in about 10 laps time where it's all-out attack, and even in the tyre management phase, we're seeing some guys really, really struggle.
Yeah, it's important these few laps just before the pit stop, because you have to maintain your position, you have to don't lose time for a car in front of you, to give the chance to your mechanics to have a good job in the pit lane with the pit stop. So really important. He stretched the situation from Leclerc, that is not pulling away to Nato. He gained to him only 1/10. You look, Nato and Markelov, they are there, close to Leclerc.
Nato is getting to a very important part. He's nearly out of DRS range, and he will be a sitting duck for Artem Markelov if he can't maintain the gap for under a second. Alexander Albon, the runner-up in the GP3 series, behind the man on track that he finished ahead of in the championship. That's Antonio Fuoco. And Albon thinking about one. That is late, though. And just looking at the damage to his car, it's not too bad. He definitely made contact when he was racing at the first time, Albon, but it's not affecting his front tyres.
How are your tires, Abu? How are your tires? Clear vegan, front brake, forces going hard. Matsushita is very slow.
Bit of a summary there on the radio for Fuoco Matsushita. He really wasn't, he won't have been expecting this as well. He said before that I'm confident we've got the strategy to work around here. ART with history of winning around this racetrack, and it's not working out how he suspected at all. In a season, he's a lot like Markelov. This is a season where Matsushita really does need to show a bit more consistency rather than, he rather had his season interrupted last year, didn't he, with the nightmare in Baku when he had the chaotic restarts, and then that rather got in his head. You saw he was low on confidence, the shoulders went down, you saw the body language was negative, and Matsushita needs this season to be a good one. Only the first race, of course, and we're only 11 laps into it, but he really does need better than he is currently faring. He will be praying for the pit stops to come, but the bad news is they're a minimum of 7 laps away.
Roland at a good exit from the last corner. He can have the chance with the using of DRS to attack the car in front of him. Jordan King, look, he's gaining. Maybe it's too far, but he tried.
Now he's going to give it a go down the inside, and that is a fantastic move past his British compatriot, and through goes Ollie Rowland up to 6th position. Remember, we heard him on the radio, he wasn't very happy. He dropped down early on, having to go slightly defensive though, not over yet. And he is just about going to hang on to the position. Is that going to be the case for Albon and Latifi? Running side by side, Alexander Albon. Oh, contact there, and that is enough damage to cause problems for your tyres. Nicholas Latifi expecting him with damage to the front wing, expecting Albon to be far faster off the corner, and unfortunately that is a race wrecker for the Canadian driver. He's not yet in the window to get rid of the medium tyres, so his race effectively ruined by this contact, and that front wing doesn't look very stable.
Yeah, you're right. It's a disaster because now at the pit stop you have to lose so much time to change the front wing.
You're the quickest on track. We have to do 6 more laps at least with this tire.
6 more laps to Leclerc, eh? It's like a sweet hearing from your engineer this voice. Look.
We've got Latifi on the right-hand side and just...
come on, bad mistake. He tried to cross the line.
We're about to go on board. He just expected Albon to be deeper into the corner.
I lost the front wing.
He tried to cross the line to try to attack the contender at the exit of the corner, but he just made a mistake on judgment this time.
So the fuel is coming down, of course, from the 90 kilos that they would have started the race on board, and in comes Latifi into the pits. It effectively rules him out of contention for the points unless we see something dramatic, unless we see a virtual safety car or a real safety car. And disappointing for the man that this time last year was very close. Markelov having a look at Norman Nato, who has now, of course, fallen back, and he's falling wider. Markelov doesn't respect the rules of where you should and shouldn't overtake. He will be onto him immediately, and he can see P2 looming large in front of him as he goes down to turn 8. He will know he's got the measure now that Nato has fallen away from Leclerc and he's lost the DRS. A new front wing for Nicholas Latifi. The soft tyres on. I tell you what, we're going to see something special if he can make those last until the end of the race. A long way still to go.
He's pulling away, Leclerc is pulling away. Norman Nato is defending to Markelov, is losing precious time to Leclerc, and now Markelov seems really aggressive. He's running better, and he has the chance on the main straight to try to attack Nato for the second position.
You see the marbles off the line, and we had a staller looking out of the window there in the pit lane. It was a Trident of Nabil Jeffrey, who got hit in qualifying. He's having a bit of a nightmare weekend. He is not having the easiest time at all. Markelov looking very good at the moment. Remember, Russian time think that they are incredibly strong on the soft tyre. So if he can get himself within range of Leclerc, we could be in for a real grandstand finish. First to clear, though, Norman Nato, who has really been struggling for the last 7 laps on these medium Pirelli tyres. Artem Markelov with the use of DRS.
Try.
He's down the inside. He's going to make the move. He's got the inside line. And we've seen some spectacular stuff from Artem Markelov down the years. That one of his easier moves. And he is now P2 in the race.
I love the way he prepared the last corner. He just break in the right position, and then he turn in, touching the inside curb. So helps you to turn the car and to have the right exit from the main straight, where he could use the slipstream and attack Norman Nato. Really well done from Markelov, that when he comes the right moment in the race, he's there fighting for the important position.
I want to make an alternative point about Norman Nato. We saw at this corner a couple of years ago him having contact with 3 other cars. He is not fighting today, Ollie Rowland.
Is it me, or am I really slow in the straight?
So he's not entirely sure. He feels a little bit slow on the straights, which is very interesting indeed. But Norman Nato, if it's not going to be a chance to contend for victory, he's better to just wave the guys past. And he's showing a level of maturity out there on the racetrack today. That's the sort of maturity you need in order to fight for the title. Well, very close indeed, this between Matsushita, Cecotto and Alexander Albon, who's running very close indeed to the back of the Venezuelan driver. He wasn't able to make sure, but look how much Matsushita is struggling, and Albon able to take advantage. So the ART holding up the rat packs, and Albon through. Sweet as you like, better traction. This is a circuit that really does require great slow speed traction, and Albon showing buckets of it there, past first of all Cecotto, and now past his teammate who doesn't fight it. Don't think he could fight it if he wanted to. Alexander Albon getting himself up into the coveted 8th position, and at the moment that would mean reverse hole tomorrow. Cecotto surely going to follow him through.
Matsushita is struggling a lot, eh?
He really is. Cecotto with the inside line. Matsushita instinctively trying to fight back, but he knows there's nothing he can do, and he leaves the door open and resigns himself to losing another position. Incredibly difficult, as there we see Camera hassling Ralph Boschung. Both of these guys stepping up to Formula 2 this year with brand new teams. We've had the first run of pit stops as well. Antonio Fuoco is just leaving the pits. We've had Norman Nato in as well. So a change to the order at the front as King and Rowland, the British pair, continuing to battle. Remember, Ollie Rowland went past King earlier on, but it's not resolved yet. The top 3 at the moment, Leclerc, Markelov and De Vries, as we have a look at how Albon got past Johnny Cecotto.
Yeah, it's a really difficult place, but look, he opened the line on the end, in the entry and then in the exit. He opened the throttle early the Cecotto, and then he tried immediately on his teammate, but Matsushita is so in difficulty. Look, he's not able to control his car anymore with the rear tires. He's really struggling. Matsushita has been overtaken by 2 cars in 3 corners. Not an easy condition for him. And strange also, the race for Antonio Fuoco that he just pit. He was 12 and now he dropped down to 14 or 15 after the pit stop, and will be really not easy now. So much laps with the same time.
Well, fascinating stuff at the front there. Charles Leclerc is bailing out. His medium tyres have had enough. But did you see how much Artem Markelov had caught him up? He is really right there in the battle for victory, and these laps are crucial. How long can Markelov make those medium tyres last? And how quickly can Primo service their car? They were absolutely exemplary last year. Little bit slow away, but that will do. Leclerc will be happy with it. But remember, there was nothing between them. Markelov closed down that gap so quickly. And is Artem Markelov the man to watch? It looked like it was going to be Nato. It looked like it was going to be Leclerc. Well, is it going to be Markelov now? Who will be giving it everything now on what is surely one of his in-laps, or getting close to his in-lap? Now, here's Nato. Is the undercut going to work for Norman Nato? Leclerc looking out of the cockpit. He knows he's going to be there. He knows it's going to be close. And remember, tyre temperature will be lower for Leclerc. He won't have the grip that Norman Nato has. And
it's
Nato
close.
knows he's got to make the move. Now they're on full attack after absolute laps and laps of looking after the tyres. They're going wheel to wheel at Bahrein, and he's trying to go all the way around the outside. And has he got it completed? He has. Wow, Norman Nato lighting it up in Bahrain. And that could be for the lead of the race in just a few laps time. Leclerc will have to regroup. Remember, he's about to generate the tyre temperature in those soft Pirellis. This isn't over yet.
Yeah, but come on, how good it was! The overtake of Norman Nato on the outside. Usually there is really complicated to stay wide in the exit and to don't be pulled out from the contender. But really, Norman Nato was amazing in that overtake. Really well done.
2 guys that have not pitted are Ollie Rowland and Jordan King, who don't really need to be battling each other, just need to be getting those medium tyres to keep going. They're going for the longer run in the hope that they can attack more on the softer rubber into the pit lane. They all come. So everyone now coming in. We've got Giotto leading Rowland. Here is Jordan King as well. Markelov continuing round. Markelov making it work. He loves it. He loves a long run.
I was wrong, my friend. I was wrong. Markelov is still in the track, but he's raising up a bit. The lap time is running in 150 instead of running in 149. It will be really hard for Markelov after the pit stop. He will have to come back and to regain position.
Well, he's going to have to come in right now, and I'll tell you why. Because out on the racetrack, Nato and Leclerc setting 146 out there. That is 4 seconds a lap faster on the new yellow-walled soft rubber than Markelov was able to. Ollie Rowland's very close indeed to the back of Giotto, and it's De Vries, Giotto and Roland. Jordan King has lost out a lot in that battle. They came in nose to tail, and the gap looks about 2 seconds now. But what relief for the drivers. Now they can go on maximum attack. Now they can show what they're capable of. And Ollie Roland's in no mood to hang around whatsoever. Straight past Luca Giotto. And confirmation there that Norman Nato is the fastest man on track. Giotto's not prepared to yield, but he had to in the end. He ran out of road, and a successful defense of the corner.
Good move from Roland with really good tires. He was really aggressive in the entry of corner 3. Really well done to Giotto. It's not easy to manage the tires in this condition. Remember, they put soft tires, most of the drivers. Now they can push, but remember that they have still to run 15 laps, so it will be not easy at the end of the race.
Of course, the temptation is to fly out of the pits, but Ollie Roland knew that he had to get that move done. Look, he's got a little bit of clear air now. That will help the tyres as they bring them up to temperatures. And here comes the leader into the pit lane, approaching his Russian time crew. This is a high-pressure pit stop for the guys. You see his teammate on track. It's a great stop onto the soft rubber for the man who is leading out there. But we're looking out the window and we're anticipating where are the guys that he is racing for victory here in Bahrain. Here we go, and it's surely going to be Norman Nato. There we go, so that lap going longer cost him. Norman Nato retakes the lead in Bahrain, and it's going one way and then the other in a fantastic seesaw race. And Markelov will not be pleased to have been so close to Leclerc, to have done the extra laps, and now he's got all that work to do again. But remember, as Ollie Roland, very, very close. Cecotto has stalled, but remember, he has more tyre life. He has got the extra laps, and a man who made that work last year in GP2 was Antonio Giovinazzi coming back in the latter stages. We have seen the feature race here settled before as late as the penultimate lap. So Markelov not in the best position at the moment. He might be able to attack at the end of the race, though.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe can have a little advantage at the end of the race, performing better than the contenders. But anyway, he one lap. He lost more than 4 seconds. It's impressive, the difference that makes these soft tires new just after the pistol.
So they are trying to extract the maximum of the new rubber. As you see, confirmation. Look at the gap to the leader. Nato came into that sequence in a net third, comes out in the lead. Driver and team working wonderfully there. He was confident. He said he was looking for the long run pace. He was struggling from lap 7. This would be something special. But Nato, well, we've seen the lead change so much, we're just going to wait and see who makes it. But Markelov is going to come on very strong indeed in the final laps. Remember the pace that we saw. Oh, it's getting very close indeed between, is that Matsushita out there still struggling? There's Alexander Albon going past on the soft rubber. So these guys have come into the pits. Another fastest lap of the race from Norman Nato, 1:46.1. He is absolutely flying at the moment. So now the guys that started on the medium rubber are catching Coletti, who was on, he was in the pit lane, remember, at the start of the race. That's why he's on the mediums now. Those mediums not in great shape. And Alexander Albon siding his way through the field. Matsushita in the other ART will try and follow through. Got careful not to outbrake yourself. So easy to do into turn 1. But he is through, and the ART's clearing Coletti, who now manages to find himself in 10th position. So he was forced onto that alternative strategy. Sean Galao has a penalty, and Canamassas and Fuoco, the Spaniard and the Italian, going wheel to wheel. Canamassas has had a really difficult weekend. Trident have been struggling. Here comes Gustav Malia as they go 3 wide and so close to contact. And somehow they managed to keep it all on the road. Canamassas in previous years had contact at that very corner with Jordan King. Not that time, but I'm not sure how. As Malia now under pressure from the man who's just got the penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So great stuff from Galeo to get himself past. Oh, that's a dangerous place to overtake. We saw that yesterday with contact with the Trident. Does Canamassas know he's there? I think he does, you know, and he's not prepared to give him an inch. Now with the use of DRS, Fuoco attacking. He's getting the wave. He's getting the wave at 180 miles an hour into the braking zone. Canamassas Canamassas doesn't like it, but Fuoco going through, going past, and Fuoco will be very, very relieved if he can just about hang on through the final sector of the lap.
Did you see Canamassas on the straight shaking hands?
Waving the hand, he's so annoyed, so annoyed. But yeah, the temperature really rising. Look at that on the last couple of laps for Nato and Leclerc. Nato having the clear advantage on the soft tyre. The question is he taking too much out of the rubber earlier on? Galeo trying to go past Canamassas now, another man who was decided to go onto the soft tyre. Jordan King now attacking Luca Giotto, trying to go around the outside, trying to do a Norman Nato. Oh, that corner comes back on itself, and he knew it wasn't worth discarding his front wing in the battle there. Got out of it, and that's very close indeed. On board with Nicholas Latifi on the softer tyre. Now remember, he came in very early on, so he's got to make a move in this race to try and contend, but he's got to make those tyres last as well. Interesting to see the approach he takes. He is now up to 13th position in the race. The next car is Canamassas for it.
Okay, Nato now is leading the race, 2.8 seconds in front of Leclerc. Third is Markelov. Will be interesting because Nato, he led the race at the beginning, just before the pit stop, and then he lost performance, and he been overtaken by Nato and Markelov. Will be interesting, understand if Nato can maintain the position, can maintain the performance till the end. Seems that with soft tires, Norman Nato is more competitive than with Prime.
So he is much preferring the softer rubber, and we have tight battles all the way through the field. The order is not set by any means at all. Fuoco will be desperate to get past Coletti and get himself in the mix for some serious points, because at the moment he is out of the points as his teammate and fellow Ferrari Academy driver Charles Leclerc runs second in the race. Looking at the lap times over the line, 0.4 of a second a lap. Nato is running faster than Leclerc, and then we've got Markelov in the background going 0.2 faster than the Prima in front of him. As we see Leclerc's teammate Fuoco closing in on Coletti, the man with so much experience. Canamassas and Latifi very close together as they go onto the kilometre-long straight here at the Bahrain International Circuit. A 3-second lead now for Nato as Fuoco uses the DRS and breezes past Coletti. Meanwhile, Canamassas not that accommodating for Latifi, hugging the inside line, going to force him off the traditional racing line. Big sweep back to the racing line, and Boschung and Mali are racing each other in the background there. Boschung desperately trying to improve to 14th position. Battling all the way through the field, still Canamassas will not yield to Latifi, and this is taking it out of his medium tyres all of the time. Every single moment that he sweeps off the traditional racing line is taking it out of him. As we go on board with the Canadian driver, who in the winter was doing some evaluation testing for Mercedes. What an opportunity that was. And down the inside now, Canamassas will surely have to open the door, and Latifi improves in the race up to 12th position. And Ralph Boschung fancies a little bit of the action as well, but he dare not go around the outside of turn number 9 against the trident of Sergio Canamassas, who is so experienced in this machinery.
And now he has the DRS open to try to come back on Latifi, but no. Latifi really well done at the hairpin. He brake really deep on the inside and surprised Canamassas. Really good this overtake from the Canadian.
Boschung said he was just going to treat this as a learning year, absorb all the information that he could, and there is no better person on this grid to race to prove your attacking prowess against as the supremely robust Sergio Canamassas. Once again, as they head to the final corner to start another lap in this oh so intriguing opener in the 2017 Formula 2 season. You see the gap that Fuoco has managed to pull away. He will be desperately trying to get after Nobuharu Matsushita.
Check it out, Alex, because for the first time Leclerc, that is second, is running quicker than Norman Nato. Just after the pit stop is the first time. Again, Latifi, right? On Coletti. Yeah.
Coletti knows he can't shut the door. Oh, that was going to get very close indeed into turn number 2. Ralph Boschung has got past Sergio Canamassas. So it's Fuoco, Latifi, Coletti with tyres running out, and he's got his teammate behind him now. moments that are very nervy indeed for Campos to see their two guys going wheel to wheel. Remember, we've got a race tomorrow. They don't want anything to have to repair, but they are so close, or at least they were, because now with a soft rubber, Ralph Boschon was able to improve, and he continues on his way in pursuit of Nicholas Latifi. What a really entertaining battle we've seen between the 5 cars in your picture at the moment. Fantastic stuff. Latifi's tyres are surely going to run out of grip, run out of life sometime soon. He's been running on them now for 9 laps after that contact with Alexander Albon that removed him as a points contender in the first race of the year. Canemassa's trying to come back against his old rival. These two have been racing each other for a very long time. And it's a 5-second time penalty for Sean Galeo for speeding in the pit lane. And they're not giving up. I think they know that they're racing each other. They've got previous, of course, but Canemassa's able to sweep around the outside. And Coletti, it's a one-time deal at the moment with Campos. But it's great to see him back in the paddock. He's a fantastic chap and the Monegasque driver, unable to do anything about Canemassa's improving, but it's not yet for the points-paying positions. That could change.
No effort, please, no effort. That's part of racing. Focus on not doing the issue again, please.
And that is the reaction to being told that you got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Now Markelov, that is third, is the quickest driver in the track, but he's far away from the leadership. He's 10 seconds behind Norman Nato, that is leading, 7 seconds behind Leclerc, that is second. Norman Nato is maintaining the pace. He's the second or third quickest guy in the track now from 9 laps to the end, so really well done from Norman Nato.
Norman Nato, we're just looking out of the window here, we can see the Arden crew, and in their bright yellow fireproof overalls, they are getting a little bit nervy, they're getting a little bit antsy there, and they've been watching on the monitors in the Red Bull garage. They will be desperately hoping to end this long winless streak, as Malia now sizing up Coletti. Gustav Malia, whose weekend really all went wrong at this turn yesterday when he ploughed into the side of Nabil Jeffrey, but he's got the DRS and he's got a position to improve. You see the fluctuating lap times between De Vries and Roland on your screen. Malia can't get it done, and Racing Engineering, who are so often race winners at this level, so often race winners with this machinery, they're having a bit of a nightmare start to the season. Malia down in 15th, Delatraz plumb last after stalling on the grid.
Coletti is struggling. Coletti is the slowest in the track at the moment. He's running 152, while the leader is running in 147. So Coletti is really struggling with the tires at the moment.
And that extremely careful approach that we saw to tyre management, Coletti doesn't fancy it. He's come in for his second stop. He can't handle the rubber in the state that it's in. Campos will receive their man once again, but all 20 cars still circulating on the racetrack, and that for an opening race of the Formula 2 season is extremely unusual to see all the guys that started still running out there. So the gap, 3.2 seconds between Nato and Leclerc, identical lap times last time. That is now the gap, so Leclerc's got it down a little bit, down from 3.2 last time to 2.8, and does the Monegasque driver for Prima have a response to the man who grew up in Cannes, not too far away at all, very close to being neighbours, but it will be a fierce battle to the finish here. Markelov would be delighted with the podium. He seemingly does not have the pace on the soft that he was showing on the medium, although he is currently pumping in personal bests. Last time around, as almost to prove me wrong on cue, he is setting an absolutely rapid lap.
He hear you. He can hear you. No, wait at the moment, because Leclerc is gaining to Norman Nato. Only 2.7 seconds the gap between them, and so will be really tough at the end of the race. And now, Markelov, quickest lap of the race, 1:46.0. 1 second point, quicker than the leader.
Well, he's been waiting and waiting and waiting, and the exact moment that I said it was looking like he might have been out of contention, here's the fastest lap of the race. A long way, so much faster, as his teammate fends off Jordan King. Jordan King with so much more experience And he's now going to the inside of Luca Giotto. So much better out of the traction zone of 2 and 3. As they come now, there they are. Jordan King has got the move completed. And he said that returning to MP Motorsport felt like a homecoming. This is the team that he first went from karting to single-seaters with. The team operated by Tony and Sarah Shaw, and they would have loved that down in the pit lane to see their man get past Giotto, and you can see the state that Giotto's tyres are in. Certainly the right front there not looking the healthiest. King able to get through, and he is now up to 6th position in the opening feature race of 2017 for Formula 2.
Now is starting to the crucial point of the race, because now the performance of the tires, they are dropping down, and you can see the driver that he drives more clean. He can control the spinning of the rear tires at the exit of the corner or the hairpin. So will be really interesting to check it out. He drove better during the race, and he is in a better shape condition of tires at the moment.
This is absolutely thrilling stuff. We've seen Nato battle through. At the very start of this race, we had Leclerc maintaining his lead from pole. Nato scything through. Leclerc taking the lead back off him. Markelov looking a very real factor for the race win. Then the cycle of stops. Arden able to get their man back in front.
It's
and
close.
Now we've got Ollie Rowland right up behind De Vries into the braking zone. Ollie Rowland trying to go around the outside. Will he put his front wing? Will he risk it? He's going to risk it. And that is a sensational move to take away the position. He has got himself up to 4th, and in some style as well. That was excellent stuff from Ollie Rowland. And he tipped by many to be a contender for the title. And he showed why right there.
Why? Wow, was not easy at all, because he braked deep on the outside. He closed really well the door, De Vries, but Rowland went on the outside, and then he was able and brave to maintain the throttle on the exit, really on the exit curve. Really well done. Rowland is a racer. He's really good on the overtakes. Really good for him.
We haven't heard the phrase "the cliff" mentioned very much at top level motorsport, but this is a circuit where the tyres absolutely do have a cliff. Once you run out of tyre life around Bahrain International, you can lose about a second a lap, and that is what Norman Nato at the front is desperately trying to avoid. That's exactly what Nick De Vries for Rapax will be trying to avoid as well, as he has lost track position. Is it going to get worse for the young McLaren Junior? The Dutch driver who was rapid last year in GP3, but didn't always manage to find the fastest route to the finish, stalling on a couple of occasions. But this is how Ollie Rowland wonderfully took away the position.
Yeah, look here. He tried to open the line, De Vries, but Rowland, he was brave to maintain the line and to maintain the throttle on. Really well done. Was not easy to control the car and the traction here on the outside curb. Really brave, this Englishman. Really well done.
That is spectacular stuff. Really great to watch. Now King fancying a bit of the action as well. The MP Motorsport driver down the inside of De Vries. There's nothing he can do. His tyres clearly not in the best position. Remember, he is a GP3 graduate, so this is the first time on this Pirelli rubber for him. And he is a race winner at that level. He is highly regarded. Not had the easiest couple of seasons out in the on the junior ladder. And now Giotto, who himself was struggling a few laps ago, going to try and inflict even more pain on the Rapax driver. But remember the practice session that he had. He will be very pleased indeed. Put it on the front row on debut, that which is pretty impressive, even though we did have the slightly unusual end to that qualifying session yesterday, and he's been running in the serious points all day long. It's a debut he can be very pleased with, even if he is going to fall behind Giotto. And that is no foregone conclusion in the remaining laps of this race.
Look at Giotto, he opened the DRS, closed the line. De Vries. It's not easy on the outside for Giotto. Is trying or no? No.
Thinks better of it. It is easy to switch back at this point, especially if you have superior traction, and that's exactly what he's got. They're a wonderful example for you for the state of the rear tyres. One guy who's looked after them, the other who's got absolutely nothing left, and it was like a rocket ship past him. as the tear-off flies, and he tries to get after Jordan King. Sweet move for Luca Giotto.
Yeah, it's so complicated this corner. It's uphill. He's in fourth gear. It's not easy at all. Look, he opened the DRS. He tried to go on the inside. He saw the reason, closed the door. He opened the line, and then he braked really early to cross the line and to go on throttle earlier than the contender. Really well done for Giotto. He was clever and smart. Well done.
Giotto, who was a race winner with this machinery in sweltering conditions last year in Malaysia, showing that he can mix it in at the front in 2017 as well. That is how he made the move. Now we're focusing on the man in second place. We see Markelov absolutely on the charge. 2.8 seconds is the gap at the front. There's the race leader for Arden, Norman Nato. Here is Charles Leclerc for Prima. But the man on the move, as you can see with that graphic, is Artem Markelov, who took an enormous chunk of time out of his rival for the second step on the podium. And there he is, the top three in your picture, as we head into the final laps of a race that seemed to belong to one guy and then a different one. And Nato will be desperately trying to eke as little as possible out of the tyres whilst maintaining that semi-comfortable 2.8 second gap. Nowhere near as comfortable for Leclerc, who is going to come under massive pressure in the final part of this race.
Not easy to understand the situation, but seems that Markelov has more chance to overtake Leclerc than Leclerc to Nato.
Okay, mate. Cars in front is starting to drop a lot. We keep it cool like this. Still 4.5 laps. It is coming into us. Keep it chill.
And it's nice when you can hear the stories from your engineer. The contenders start to drop. You are in pace, man. Look, 2 seconds, point two, he gained to Leclerc. He's going to fight for everything, Markelov.
We've seen it decided on the penultimate lap before. Are we going to see it decided on the final lap today? Artem Markelov and Russian Time were very, very confident about how they could run the soft tyre, and we're seeing why at the moment. Here's Alexander Albon, who has sized into the advantage that his former GP3 rival Nick de Vries had, and that was not even a battle. De Vries clinging on for dear life with those tyres at the moment. Alexander Albon getting himself up to 7th place, and the next one could be really painful for De Vries, who is currently running around with absolutely horrible lap times. He's in the 149s, the guys behind him in the 147s, and that is why it was so easy for Alexander Albon.
It's Markelov. He's getting closer. He's getting closer to Leclerc. He gained 8 tenths only in the first sector, and look at it.
2 seconds quicker. More than 2 seconds. We get them if you keep it like this.
Come on, engineer, leave the job to the driver now, because he can see he can see the leader, he can see the man in the second position. He needs to stay focused to try to attack at the maximum.
Well, he had the advantage, didn't he? He went 2 laps longer. When he came out of the pits, he was 10 seconds behind. He has clawed back that advantage. He is now on the gearbox of Charles Leclerc, who is surely not going to be able to do anything about this. Is he going to even try into the final corner? He thinks better of it. He didn't really need to feint to the inside. This should be a relatively simple move. And you see comparably the difference there in traction. Nothing Leclerc can do. He has surely no option. And to add insult to injury, it's the DRS belonging to Markelov, because the detection point is at the previous corner. And Markelov now up to 2nd position, but it isn't over yet. We said, would the extra laps on the medium work for him later on? Well, it's got him up to 2nd. But look at the comparison to the race victory. He is operating so much faster than the leader at the moment.
He was smart here just before the last corner. He tried, and then he was clever to wait and to go on the straight with the DRS open. So the lap time is quicker. Really well done for Markelov. That show when it's important. In so hot condition, in so warm condition, when you are tired, that he can use his head. Really well done for Markelov.
We talked earlier, didn't we, about the maturity required. Well, Artem Markelov, this You would argue that the Monaco victory was something special, remarkable, slightly unusual. If he can pull this off, it will be the finest day of his career. Roland and King continuing. Markelov at the front, a full 2nd faster than Norman Nato in the opening sector of the lap. Gaining time hand over fist. These two very close as well. The use of DRS for Jordan King. It's the battle for 4th and 5th. Very close indeed. And look in the background, Alexander Albon absolutely flying on this soft rubber. He has got past De Vries and he is right up to the back now of Luca Giotto.
Yeah, you're right. Albon, then King, then Markelov are the quickest guy at the moment in the track, so they are the driver that conserve better the tires. Look, Albon, really well done his recover. He's fighting for Giotto, with Giotto for the 6th position. Really well done.
2 laps to go, and we're on to the penultimate lap. Look how close it is. It was 3 seconds last time around. It's now half a second into the braking zone at turn 1. Artem Markelov, he waited and waited. He sat there at 10 seconds. He sat there, and I didn't think he had the pace, but he was waiting on his engineer's instruction, and now he's tucked underneath. He's surely got the ability to go through, and Artem Markelov takes the lead. There's going to be nothing Nato can do, and Markelov has judged it, surely, to perfection on what will be one of the greatest days of his life. He has run this wonderfully, and for so long the inconsistent man, and they're all taking it rather calmly. Well, not that calmly on closer inspection, but they are on for a phenomenal victory. It would be the opening Formula 2 victory of the new era, and what a strategic reward it would be for the Russian time pit wall.
So main range up, it is yours to take, keep it cool.
I bet you love that. When you've done all that work, when he's been out there in the air temperature of 35 degrees, giving it everything, and the engineer just comes on and goes, just calm down. You're in the lead now. It's one of the greatest drives you've ever put in at this level. Just calm down.
Yeah, you're right. He was so good. He was so clever, because it's important when you go close to the car in front of you to try to attack him immediately. Because if no, staying behind, you destroy the tires, you destroy the front, you destroy the rear tires in exit. It's important to be aggressive at the beginning. King, he has to try immediately to overtake on the main straight. Roland, if no, you lose the momentum.
So King looking very, very good indeed. King now very, very close to Ollie Rowland. We've seen the battle at the front seemingly resolved. Heartbreak for Norman Nato, but will it be heartbreak for Ollie Rowland, who's looking left, who's looking right in his wing mirrors? He's going to go super defensive. He's really going to push King to the outside. Is there anything he can do, though, fighting against DRS? I don't think so. Important for King not to lock a wheel. He hasn't. Rowland not prepared to give it up. Is he going to dive to the inside? Oh, it could be close on the apex here. And Ollie Rowland, in the end, had to back out of it. They almost came to a standstill, but the end result is it's 4th place from 11th on the grid on the final lap of the race for Jordan King. He's made his way through past Ollie Rowland, and Rowland and King, well, that battle's been going since the early stages of the race, and King will be delighted to make it work. Good points for both of them as it stands. Matsushita currently circulating in 8th place, which would be reverse pole. Nick De Vries was demoted from that position. He will be so disappointed to just miss out 9th. It might be points, but it's not where you want to be. Well, we spoke a lot about Artem Markelov and what patience he showed. Not only did he make the medium tyres last longer, he went 2 laps longer than Leclerc when he was right behind him, tucked underneath his gearbox. He had the confidence to do that. He made the tyres last longer, and then he waited when he came out of the pits. He did not attack. He waited for his engineer's call. The moment that he got the message on the radio, he gave it everything. They have judged it to perfection. A phenomenal race that looked like it belonged to Leclerc and then looked like it belonged to Nato is about to be won. Artem Markelov is the winner of the first Formula 2 race of the new era on one of the best days of his career. He has delivered a phenomenal strategy to take the checkered flag in Bahrain. It's heartbreak, but good points for Arden, who returned to the podium after a long absence at this level. Leclerc on the podium on debut in Formula 2. King beat Rowland, and Albon, absolutely rapid, was circulating 3 seconds faster than the guys in front. That will give him a lot of encouragement. They're still racing at the back there. That's Galeo and Coletti not prepared to call it off at this late stage. They're still going wheel to wheel. We then had Giotto, Matsushita on reverse grid pole for tomorrow, Antonio Fuoco in 9th, and Nick De Vries managing to get the final point. But with hardly any tyres left. That was a really difficult race. Well, we've seen one Artem on the podium. They are racing all the way to the end here. These guys battling over 16th position, but Galeo locking up. He's not, but he's off the road, and Coletti's gonna hang on to it. He's stopped all the way to 16th place, and the battle that went right to the end shows how competitive this field is. There they go. It's 16th for Stefano Coletti on what might be a cameo, and we hope is a little bit of a comeback. Let's hear from the phenomenal race winner.
What to say, mate? No words. Awesome. That's how you make it, mate. That's how you make it.
Well, he's always relaxed. He's always got a song for us, but he will feel like singing even more after judging it to perfection. That was a race to show real faith in your engineers, to show real faith in what they expected. That's what all the hard work through testing was about. It was to evaluate how the tyres would work. Russian Time were so much more confident about the soft tyre than the hard tyre, and now we see why. A lot of people pick Giotto ahead of this, but it's the Russian Artem Markelov, once a winner in GP2 as the drivers pick up marbles, but now a winner in Formula 2. And he will be absolutely thrilled in a season he knows he has to deliver the goods. He has, and how. That was sensational stuff from the Russian driver.
Okay, P3, good job, good job. It was difficult to do better today.
Oh, sorry. Again, the management of the tire is not really good from my side.
Well, Leclerc, you can hear how despondent he is, but I think in a couple of hours, when he's had a chance to gather it all together, he will reflect that those are good early points for the title battle. And a lot of people pick Nato to be in the mix. A lot of people pick Leclerc. You didn't see Markelov mentioned much. Well, he is sometimes a wild card. Now he's a front runner. Absolutely magnificent stuff. His final lap of the race, by the way, was a 1:48.7. Norman Nato clinging on with a 1:53.1. That was the state of play between the soft tyres. Russian Time, well, they got their timings absolutely perfect when it matters, and this is the end result. When there is tyre life to be extended, this is the man to do it. Artem Markelov, you deserve that bow. Magnificent stuff. After 32 really entertaining laps, it looked like all three men were in with a shot. But what reward for these guys as well. Perfect pit stop. And they have been slogging it out in really extraordinary temperatures here this weekend. Taking the congratulations. These are wonderful scenes. There is a huge depth of talent in this field. A lot of drivers have been on the podium. It's lovely to see. And a hug from the boss. Artem has delivered when it mattered. Bruno Michel, the boss of Formula 2, on hand, with Charlie Whiting ready to congratulate the inaugural winner as the guys on the podium congratulate themselves. You can see that, and we heard a little bit earlier, that Charles took it a little bit tough. Nato would have known what was coming as soon as he saw Markelov in his mirrors. Didn't give him the big squeeze, knew that there was nothing he could do. Such was the difference in lap time at the end, 5 seconds. And there's the reward. Formula 2 beginning in true style. Well, you get different types of racing, and today was all about the strategy in the harshest test that the 20 drivers in the field will face. And it has all led to Russian Time, who in their first season in GP2 won the team's title. They will be hoping to continue that in Formula 2. They will be hoping to contend We have a little look at the rear tyres. Of course, they have picked up marbles and gone to the dirty part of the racetrack to add weight to the car when it is weighed in scrutineering later on. But brilliant for Artem Markelov, because the last time that he did win a race in that car, it was with the slight anomaly of the virtual safety car. Nothing he did wrong, my word, he had to work hard to get himself to that situation. But wonderful for him to have a race with no one questioning what happened. You know, today it was all Russian time and it was all Artem Markelov. Terrific recovery as well from Alexander Albon. Big shout out to him in 6th position. He was running some fantastic pace. In fact, he was even quicker at the very end than Markelov was. Well, the briefing from Prima was that don't expect us to have the same unrivaled pace as last year, and so it proved. Charles Leclerc taking a well-earned bottle of water. You can see the effect that it has racing out there. And here is the winner, and the man in 2nd place as we take an early look at the title battle. 25 points for victory and the fastest lap. Let's listen in to what the guys are talking about.
Oh. On the radio, 9 seconds, Markelov 9 seconds off. 9 seconds behind you. That's okay, there's 5 laps to go. Next lap, 3.6. I was like, sorry, 3.6? I made them repeat like 5 times. At the end, I was
You did what? 1 lap after me?
yeah.
That was so hard.
Yeah. I was quite good in the middle.
You heard there the absolute astonishment of Charles Leclerc to hear that he was 9 seconds behind on 1 lap and then 3 seconds behind on the next. That was the difference. So really impressive stuff. And it's time for the first Formula 2 podium.
Within 3rd place,
Charles Leclerc, the man who started on pole. A little bit disconsolate, but he shouldn't be. It was a lot of hard work out there, and for a rookie on those tyres, that was very impressive driving. Norman Nato, so many people's pick to win, and you can see why. A fantastic drive to 2nd, not quite enough, because today, running to perfection, no one was going to deny the man from Moscow, Artem Markelov, and he'll hear the national anthem of Russia. He never betrays too much emotions, Artem Markelov, but you can see that that really meant a lot to him. What a trophy! There's the first silverware of the season, and there's the smile that his race victory really did merit. Formula 2 race winner Artem Markelov won for the stat then, a first podium in the championship for Norman Nato. Expect to see many more from him, not only him, but this guy. But we've got other contenders as well. Alexander Albon, Ollie Rowland, Jordan King, Luca Giotto. They showed that they can absolutely mix it at the front today in less extreme conditions. We will surely see them in this position. And now it's time for a bit of the bubbly. Last time that Markelov stood on the top step, confusion. Today, nothing but brilliant adulation for the man that made the very difficult strategy work and found himself right at the top of the podium. Started 7th and finished 1st. Can't say better than that for a man who was denied a shot at the front row in qualifying, but more than made up for it today.
If you'd like to get together for the photograph, please, gentlemen, thank you.
Another one for the album for these guys. Russian time was so impressive in the forerunner to this series. They took 10 wins in GP2, but they're up to 1 already, 1 from 1. It's not a bad result at all, and I can't wait to hear from these guys. The microphones are out. Davide has made the dash from the combox to the podium. Let's hear from him and the top 3 right now.
Hi guys, what a race! Very well done. Markelov, sorry, I had to come to you because what a race! What did you thought when you were 3rd, just after the pit stop? But you were flying at the end.
We were just trying to save the tires. That's the key, actually. So.
What a race! And then when you were getting to the other, and you realized immediately that the victory was there or no?
Yeah, we did the pit on 3 laps a bit later, and I'm trying to save the tires. Always the engineer trying to say to me in the ears, like, Markelov, just save the tires till the end, and we will be pushed better. So, pretty thanks for the team. That's a really good job, guys.
Very well done, very well done. Norman, what a race. You have to tell me, how was the feeling? You were leading just at the beginning, then you were leading after the pit stop. What you thought? That was your day?
Well, you never know in Bahrain. It's, you know that until the last lap, everything can happen. So, no, obviously at the beginning everything was right. So, okay, everything is under control. Then Charles was quicker than me, so I didn't try to fight with him because he was just quicker. Then I had a fight with Artem, but obviously I was slower than them. On prime, I bit struggled, so I think this is something to improve for tomorrow. No option was really good, a really aggressive strategy. I thought it's gonna work. It was close, but no, obviously I'm really happy. I would like to thank my team because they really pushed hard this winter for us to be where we are today. It's a good beginning. We keep pushing, and tomorrow it's another race.
Congratulations, congratulations. To you, Charles. Come with me, please. I was an amazing pole position, so congratulations. And then you lead the race for a bit the first part of the race, and then after the pit stop, maybe with option, you were not special, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think we on the prime tires we were quite good, and yeah, then we pitted a bit early, I think, for the options. And on the option, it wasn't that great. I didn't manage the tires as well as I wanted. But to be honest, after the testing we did 2 weeks ago, if we would have told us you'll be 3rd, I would have signed straight away because the race runs last time weren't great at all. And yeah, I mean, it was a crazy race. At the end, I think they told me on the radio, Artem is at 7 seconds. I was like, oh, okay, there's 3 laps to go, so it will be okay, he will stay behind. But the next lap, he told me he's at 2 seconds, and I was like, oh. So yeah, it's okay, it's like this. I mean, I'm happy with the result anyway. It's the first race of the season. We took the maximum points we could, and yeah, we'll work from there.
Congratulations, first race, first podium, great job from Bahrein Italian team. Markelov, please, you have to tell me after this victory, if it was hard, if it was conserving of tire, if it was the car of your team, what made the difference today? You were impressive, one of the best races I ever seen.
Actually, it was not really good the qualifying yesterday, and so we were really prepared for today, and looking for the data, just checking something more in the car, and the car was really good, and we push it to the limit so we can improve and be consistent till the end of the year.
Great race, thank you guys, very well done. See you tomorrow again here for the Formula 2.
for him, we will hear the national anthem.